The temperature today approaching the 90-degree mark as we come to you from Darlington International Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina for the running of the Rebel 500, the 8th race on the 1981 Grand National Circuit. And earlier, the rookies here at Darlington, including, of all people, Johnny Rutherford, flanked here by Tim Richmond and Kyle Petty, received some advice from some of the track veterans.
You can't pass going into turn 3. Don't ever try to go into turn 3 beside somebody. I don't care if he's just barely moving. Because you get up in the loose stuff going in there and you go right straight into the wall.
Just get used to getting in line with whoever's running where you can run a good smooth pattern and you won't lose much time at all.
This turn 3 and 4 is really the key to a good fast lap around the racetrack. When you start to get through here good and you got a good line through there and the car feels good and you get back in the throttle and run off that corner pretty hard, then you're going to make good time around this racetrack.
But you got to remember that early in the race, that it's a one-groove racetrack for sure coming off that corner.
If you get your rear wheels up in that,
then you're in deep trouble, front or rear, doesn't make any difference. But after you run a while, then everybody slips a little bit and they make the groove wide enough then that you can go ahead and race somebody through that corner. But to begin with, there's no way.
you just have to think here that it's like a funnel. You start into a big old turn and all of a sudden it comes down to nothing. And you can't be around nobody. Cars have been here before, 10 laps down and run second. Cars have been here before and can't run a lick and finish in the top 5 just because they stayed out of the way, they didn't race nobody. And that's the best philosophy to use at this racetrack. Don't race nobody. Anybody got any questions? Well, that scared me.
Well, I think that very aptly sums up the feelings of the drivers about Darlington International Raceway. As we greet you today from Darlington, South Carolina, Al Michaels with you on a very hot and windy day, and at a racetrack that the drivers have a tremendous amount of respect for. It is the oldest of the nation's super speedways, and it's called by many of the drivers the Lady in Black. Interesting point today, when they take the green flag, 2 men on the front row, Harry Gant, who will be on the outside, and Bill Elliott, who has won the pole for the first time ever, have never won a Grand National race. And, of course, all of the top veterans, the big names of stock car racing, are here. It should be an interesting and a most unpredictable race. And let me bring in now our longtime motor racing expert, Jackie Stewart. When you come to Darlington, Jackie, anything can happen.
There's always a lot of action. This racetrack, so its history has been action. But I think the most impressive thing is with 2 young drivers, at least 2 new drivers up in the front end, never having won, who's going to win it? I predict it's going to be the old guard again. David Pearson said to me earlier today, and he's won 10 Darlington races, he said, if it's only those 2 drivers I've got to race against, Jackie, I'd be a happy man. What he's got to worry about are the Richard Pettys, the Bobby Allisons, the Darrell Waltrips, the Cale Yarboroughs, the old brigade, the Buddy Bakers. These are the men at the end of this race that I prophesy will be up there.
Also working with us today in the pits, Chris Economaki. Let's get a report now.
There will be more emphasis on crew chiefs in this year's Rebel 500 because of the new, smaller, downsized cars. In years past, each team has had a record book. Every item of every chassis setting, tire pressure, shock absorber setting, weight setting, gear ratios is all logged in this record book. So when the crews come to a track, they know where to start. But because of the new cars, there is no record book for Darlington today. And that could mean a lot of adjusting on the chassis at each pit stop for the crew chiefs because they're racing into the unknown.
All right, Chris, right now the car is on the pace lap. Let's set the first few rows. Row 1, Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. In the second row, you have Darrell Waltrip and David Pearson, Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Allison, this year's point leader. In row 3, Cale Yarborough and Neil Bonnet. In the 4th row, Richard Petty and Ricky Rudd. In row 5, Benny Parsons and Dave Marcus in row 6. Terry Labonte is back in row number 7. And then all the way back in the pack, in row number 12, there is car number 98, driven by 3-time Indianapolis winner Johnny Rutherford, with a lot of experience, of course, in champ car racing, but a relative newcomer of sorts, though he has tried stock car competition from time to time. A look now at race control. That's Bill Gazaway, the NASCAR competition director. The man with the ultimate authority here as the pace car pulls into the pits. The field is aligned. 36 cars, 18 rows, waiting for the green flag now to begin this race. 500 miles or 367 laps, and we're underway at Darlington. Car number 9, that's Bill Elliott, who's never won a NASCAR race, taking the lead. Darrell Waltrip has quickly moved into 2nd position, and David Pearson, who loves this racetrack, a man who has won 10 500 500-mile races at Darlington has moved into third, including 7 victories in the Rebel 500. But Elliott is stretching out a pretty sizable first lap advantage into turn number 3. Bill Elliott is the leader. Harry Gant, who sat outside Elliott in row number 1, has dropped back into 4th position. And as they complete lap number 1, Bill Elliott out of Dawsonville, Georgia, the leader. The Rebel 500 continuing at Darlington, South Carolina. Bill Elliott still has the lead, but here comes Darrell Waltrip in car number 11. As they go into turn number 3, it is Darrell taking the lead for the first time today. Elliott dropping back into 2nd position. David Pearson is 3rd, and there is Dale Earnhardt, last year's Grand National champion. He is running 4th in car number 2 over this racetrack, which is 1.366 miles around, about a mile and a third here at Darlington. Waltrip the leader and Elliott 2nd.
Tremendously impressive, these big cars. Of course, they're slightly smaller this year. Like all Americans, they seem to be going downsized. These cars, there'll be Fords, Pontiacs, Buick, Chevrolets. Of course, you can't buy these cars off the street. You can't buy them in any showroom. These are specially built cars. I mean, they're really only built for racing, Al.
Darrell Waltrip. Remember, Jackie, we used to talk about Waltrip as the young lion? Well, right now, he's an established star at age 34, a man who has won 30 Grand National races, including 3 already this year.
Yes, it's been a busy year for Darrell Waltrip this year. This is the 8th Grand National event. Oddly enough, this year there's been 7 pole winners, 7 different ones in 8 races. And only last year there were only 7 in the whole year who got pole position. The old guard are being challenged. So therefore, Darrell Waltrip, who used to be a young lion, certainly is up there. David Pearson, he's one of the old lions, the silver fox himself, driving that car there in the lead. And Dale Earnhardt's trying to make a pass on him right now. Young Dale Earnhardt's got through, and he's passed him. And Cale Yarborough in 27, he's also got past David Pearson in the car number 16.
Cale would certainly be the favorite of the crowd here. Grew up, of course, in Timminsville, about 10 miles from the track. And Richard Petty in trouble in car number 43. The King coming into the pits early in the race. Richard Petty in car number 43, and up goes the hood.
That looks like the end of the day for him. He's been smoking a little bit, but that man ain't smoking now, apart from the speed that he's smoking. And of course, that is Darrell Waltrip, as you said, 34 years of age. In my judgment, this is about the best years for a race driver. Physically fit, he's mature, but at the same time, he's really fast and competitive.
Number 42, driven by Kyle Petty. He's still running, but his dad is getting out of the car. Let's go to Chris.
Richard, is this the end of the day for you? I don't know. They said the oil pan had about a 16th split in it, so can't run with leaking oil. Okay, there it is, right from King Richard himself.
So the man has won 194 Grand National races, will not add another to that total today. As you look at Bill Elliott, who has now dropped back into 3rd place, he's been passed by Cale Yarborough. Darrell Waltrip still the leader as they move up on the back markers now. Waltrip in car number 11, and Yarborough has moved into 2nd in his draft in car number 27. It's interesting, for so many years we saw Yarborough in car number 11. Waltrip was driving car number 88, but so many team changes this year, and the numbers have been shuffled as Cale makes his move now on Waltrip down the main straightaway, and as they head into the first turn, it's Yarborough who takes the lead for the first time.
Cale Yarborough consistently doing it there and with conviction. There was nothing that Darrell Waltrip could have done. Cale Yarborough just went past him going into that corner and now has the lead.
So the standings at the moment, Yarborough on top, Darrell Waltrip 2nd, Bill Elliott is 3rd, Dale Earnhardt 4th. We'll be right back. Cale Yarborough in car 27 still the leader of the Rebel 500. Darrell Waltrip is 2nd, and right now they are about to put a lap on Bobby Allison in car 28, driving a Buick for the first time this season, and Bobby not running well today. Yarborough the leader, and this of course would be in essence his hometown track, and one he'll never forget if for no other reason than 1965. This scene in the Southern 500, he and Sam McQuagg tangling going into turn number 1. Cale winds up going over the wall, landed 200 feet from the surface of the track, walked away from that crash. Cale Yarborough, the leader. Darrell Waltrip still running 2nd in the Rebel 500. 70 Grand National career victories. Looking for number 71 today as he has stretched out his advantage in the Rebel 500.
Keo's got tremendous experience. He's also got maturity. Not something that always goes hand in glove with experience, but he has it. And right now, a tremendous battle going on. Darrell Waltrip, car number 11. Car number 2 is Dale Earnhardt, last year's NASCAR champion. The year before that, he was the Rookie of the Year in NASCAR. He's certainly come to the top quickly. You can see the relationship there between the white car on the left-hand side of your screen. That's Cale Yarborough, the leader. The cars, the 3 cars there coming up behind him are, of course, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and then Harry Gant is behind there. And there's Dale Earnhardt making a move on Darrell Waltrip, and he gets through. He's passed him. He's got second place. And there's Harry Gant. He's also passed Waltrip, so he's got third place right now. So there's a change for you. The leader still, Cale Yarborough.
Good battle behind Cale, though, but Cale with a lot of distance right now. Yarborough is looking for his first victory ever in the Rebel 500. He has won 4 500-mile races on this track, but the 4 victories came in the Southern 500. So Cale is on top, heading down the main straightaway. The car running very, very well at this point. Harry Gant in the thick of things in the battle right now for second place. An interesting story. He's 41 years old, and Gant has never won a Grand National race. He chased Yarborough at Atlanta, if you saw our coverage of the Atlanta 500 earlier this year on Wide World of Sports, but it was Yarborough who won there, and Cale right now maintaining his advantage, running very, very well here at Darlington.
Going round this high bank oval here, it's 22 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2. It's, of course, 1.366 miles around. This super speedway was built in 1950, the first of the super speedways. Tremendous pace, and now we've got Darrell Waltrip. He's in the pits. Car number 11, he's getting outside rubber. New tyres put on there. Of course, he's getting gas as well. A quick pit stop. He accelerates out of pit lane. Darrell Waltrip.
That was a scheduled pit stop for Waltrip coming under the green. And right now, Dale Earnhardt is in second position, and there is Gant in car number 33, running third. So still a very tight battle for a second. Waltrip, of course, will back off after that pit stop as far as the standings are concerned, but the leaders have yet to come in on their scheduled pit stops in this sequence. So Earnhardt maintaining his second place lead over Harry Gant, with Yarborough, of course, the overall leader in the Rebel 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. And here comes Harry Gant. Looks like he's going to make the move on the inside as they head into turn number 1. It is Gant who moves ahead of Earnhardt and into second place.
Well, Harry Gant was in the front row of the starting grid at the beginning, dropped way back, and he's now got himself back up, and he's behind this man, Cale Yarborough, a man who's certainly got masses and masses of experience. So, although they're about the same age, the man in car number 27 certainly knows what it's like to lead a motor race a lot more than Harry Gant does.
Cale Yarborough coming down the main straightaway. Now Harry Gant putting some distance between himself and Earnhardt, who hit the wall and hits it again in turn number 4. Dale Earnhardt into a wall and now sliding down into the cushion.
Well, Dale Earnhardt certainly has what they call a Darlington stripe on the outside of his race car. He hit that wall fairly early on. They've got the yellow flag out. Then he hit it again quite badly. It'll remain to be seen what happens to his car. They're coming into the pits.
So right now the standings, Yarborough on top, Gant second, Marcus third. More of the Rebel 500 coming up later, but right now let's join Howard Cosell. News at Darlington, South Carolina. Al Michaels reporting with Jackie Stewart and Chris Economaki, and still the leader, Cale Yarborough, but just barely. That's Harry Gant tucked right in behind. There is the battle for fourth place right now. Car 71, Dave Marcus currently in fourth, trailed by Bill Elliott, the pole sitter in car number 9. And there is Darrell Waltrip in number 11. Waltrip, who led earlier in the race, is currently in third position and putting another lap on Bobby Allison in car 28.
Close racing as ever, and how close it is here for Cale Yarborough, trying to keep a narrow lead in car number 27. Harry Gant in 33, trying to get past. He's all over the racetrack trying to get him. Look at that car weaving back and forward there, partly due to the turbulence, partly coming off at turn 4. He tries to get through going into turn 1. He's only inches away from the rear fender of Yarborough's car. He's staying close by him, almost side by side as they come off turn 2. He tucks in, going down the straight stretch towards turn 3. Very few people attempt to pass going into turn 3. Almost impossible to do so, and a small advantage is again taken by Cale Yarborough. Enormous experience here as they come out of turn 4. This is where the move has to be made. And he's attempting the move again. Again, the car seems to be unstable on the road, Al. But he's through. He's managed it into turn 1. Harry Gant, your new leader.
Well, Jackie, we've got a fascinating story unfolding now as Harry Gant in car number 33 is driving for his 4th different owner already this season. It's the 5th different car he's been in the 8 races thus far in 1981. Gant, who has never won a NASCAR Grand National race, is experienced, though. That car, the last time we saw it in the Atlanta 500 on Wine World, was driven by well-known Hollywood stuntman Stan Barrett. But Darlington is a special sort of track that requires experience, so today it's driven by Harry Gant, who talked about the situation earlier.
I talked with Stan, and I hope to help Stan a whole lot, which I think I can, and we talked about this deal for a long time here. And it'd be the same thing for him driving a race car. It'd be like me trying to ride a horse in one of his movies or doing one of his stunts. He realizes the difference, and I do too. You know, any driver really should know that it's hard for a driver to come in a Grand National and just go right out there and win races.
Especially so at Darlington, a special sort of track, as Harry Gant has the lead in a car that is owned by Hal Needham and the well-known entertainer Burt Reynolds. Out in front right now is Gant in 33.
Burt Reynolds, in fact, very enthusiastic about racing, but there's Darrell Waltrip. He's a man that you can never forget because he really is a lion of a race driver. A lot of experience now. He's 34 years of age. He's good. He's in 3rd position right now. And there's Harry Gant, our leader. Harry Gant performing flawlessly now. He's got himself a lead there from Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough coming up there on the outside behind him. Dave Marcus, you see, in that blue car, it almost looks blue and black. The car number 71 outside there, that car 47 is just being lapped. Bill Elliott in car number 9 there, slightly below him. As they come through their packed grandstand, a lot of people coming to see this Darlington Rebel 500, a great southern occasion.
Harry Gant maintaining his advantage over Cale Yarborough. As Yarborough now comes out of turn number 4. There's the battle for 4th place. 71, Dave Marcus and Bill Elliott. You've got Waltrip in 3rd up ahead, and Bill Elliott moving down inside, down the main straightaway, and Bill Elliott, who was on the pole, a man who has not won a Grand National race yet in Dawsonville, Georgia, 25 years old, has moved into 4th position. So a good showing today for Elliott in car number 9. Dave Marcus getting into his draft right now. And it looked like he was going to move down and try to make a move. Again, he gets out of the draft, but he'll tuck in behind now as they head into the corners.
As ever, close racing in NASCAR racing, remarkably close racing. One of the best spectacles in auto racing in any part of the world, I always feel, from the spectator's point of view. Harry Gant, car number 33. Oh, and there's a spin out. You've got it's car number 64. He's in trouble. He's all over the racetrack. Tommy Gale. He's got it. You know, he hasn't hit a thing. He's only got flat spots on the tires. That's when the wheels lock up and the rubber gets ground off the tires. You'll probably have to come in. Bill Gasaway.
Have you handling the 33 car? Tell him to slow it down.
That's Bill Gasaway, the overlord of NASCAR today, for safety, telling Harry Gant that he's got to slow down, giving the officials that information.
And now with the yellow flag out, the leaders taking advantage of it to come into the pits, including Harry Gant in car 33. We're still running under the yellow at the Rebel 500 in Darlington, South Carolina, but we do anticipate green this time around. And the leader after the pit stops, Harry Gant in car 33. Darrell Waltrip, who came out behind Gant, is 2nd. And we get the green flag racing again at Darlington with car 27, Cale Yarborough 3rd, and Bill Elliott in car number 9, currently in 4th position. So a most interesting front 4. Gant, who's never won a Grand National race. Waltrip, who has won 30. Yarborough in 3rd place, he's won 70. And then Bill Elliott in car number 9, who, like Gant, has never won a Grand National race. They're the men running 1-2, Gant and Waltrip.
Harry Gant showing a very clean pair of heels right now on the racetrack. To Darrell Waltrip, car number 33, still our leader. The car, by the way, on the just coming into your picture there, we just saw their car number 16 is that of David Pearson, who's a lap down. He's had a sad situation occur. Sadly, his car owner, Joe Halpern, passed away recently. And by the way, there you see, Darrell Waltrip's taking the lead very cleanly going into turn 3. David Pearson following him through there, remember, a lap down. But David, as I say, a sad situation. His car owner in a motorboat accident lost his life, and it's not quite certain yet whether this racing team will continue. So David Pearson is not sure of what his future will be in this car.
David wedged in between the leader, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant in second place, and there is Cale Yarborough, who was running third. Smoke coming out of the back of Cale's car. Yarborough, who led much of this race earlier, currently running third and dropping down low. So Cale Yarborough being passed now by Bill Elliott in car number 9, and there goes Dave Marcus. Marcus currently running fourth, and Cale Yarborough may be finished for the day. Certainly his chances of winning are nil right now.
An ominous sign when that much smoke comes out from the back of a car, and he's pulling off, and he's pulling straight into the garage area. He's not even going into the pit, so you may as well assume that that's the end, I think, for Cale Yarborough today.
The most unfortunate finish for a man who led for 130 laps. So with Yarborough out, Elliott in car number 9 is third, and here comes Marcus right behind him in car number 71. As you look at the battle for third place right now, but Elliott stretching out the advantage once again. Darrell Waltrip in car number 11, still the leader. Harry Gant is second. By the way, earlier you saw Dale Earnhardt hit the wall. He is still out on the track and running, but no factor in the race. And right now there's Kyle Petty dropping out of the race. His father Richard left earlier. Not a good day for the Petty family. Meanwhile, Chris is with Cale Yarborough in the pits.
Cale, it looked like you had this one. Engine trouble?
Yeah, the engine finally let go. We lost the oil pressure, and I guess we just burnt the bearings out, but it started giving me a little trouble right before the last caution flag. But the car ran good all day.
You had great racing out there with Harry Gant and some of the other fellows. Think if you'd have stayed in, you might have been able to win it?
We'd have sure given them a good run for it.
No question about that. As you take a look now at the battle for third place, Dave Marcus in car 71. Dave, now living in Wausau, Wisconsin, has moved past Bill Elliott in car number 9. The top 4 men running on the same lap. Still the leader in car number 11 is Darrell Waltrip. There he is. Harry Gant in car number 33 running second. The Rebel 500 winding down at Darlington. We'll be right back. We're nearing the end of the Rebel 500, and when they cross the start-finish line this time around, we'll have exactly 5 laps remaining. Still, Darrell Waltrip on top by the slightest of margins. Harry Gant in second place, right there with him. Waltrip seeking his 4th victory in 8 races. In 1981, Gant, of course, seeking his first Grand National win ever. Earlier, we saw Kyle Petty lead the race, and Chris Economaki is in the pits with Kyle right now.
Okay, it's Darlington Raceway. You've driven it. The lady in black, is it as bad as you thought it would be?
It was when I first started, but the more I run it, I mean, you know, the more laps I run, the more used to it I got. And by the time that we blew it up, I thought we were running pretty good.
What'd your father say to you when you got out of the car?
He just wanted to know what happened to it. We've been running fairly good. I mean, you know, picking up. We've been increasing our lap times about every lap, so I guess it was time for it to blow.
3 generations of Pettys. Grandpa Lee, Father Richard, son Kyle. They've all raced here at Darlington, where we have 3.5 laps remaining, and still it's Waltrip being stalked by Harry Gant. That victory for Harry, Jackie, is so close and yet so far with Waltrip out in front of him.
Well, he's got a tough man to pass there in Darrell Waltrip, and Darrell's using a little bit more racetrack than he would like to. Marcus in third position. By the way, Dave Marcus has done very well. We saw Dave Marcus having an enormous accident in Atlanta when we were live with Wide World of Sports there not too long ago, and his car was terribly badly damaged. He's come back. The crew have done a great job. Talking about crews, that crew of Harry Gant's tremendously impressive. The crew chief, Travis Carter, used to be the crew chief, in fact, for the Junior Johnson team. That's to say the Cale Yarborough car last year. This man has also worked for Roger Penske, and look at the amount of road there that Darrell Waltrip was using. He was really trying to make sure that nobody got past there. He's obviously paying a lot of attention to Harry Gant.
A lap and a half remaining. They're on the backstretch, and it's still Waltrip being stalked by Gant. You have to know that Darrell is not only driving his race, Jackie, but at this point, it seems he has that innate feel exactly where Gant is, and he's not going to give Harry any more room than he has to.
Well, it seems to me that Harry Gant's got the fastest car on the racetrack right now, not only in handling, but also in engine. And look there again, Darrell Waltrip drops low on the racetrack to make sure, in fact, that Harry Gant just simply can't get past, because cutting in to turn 1 there is where all the passing's been done.
They're on the last lap right now. They've taken the white flag. Down the back straightaway they go, and if Gant's going to make his move, he's running out of time.
Well, it's strategy right right. Now it is going to be, maybe this slower car could play an important part in this as they go high on the racetrack here. The slower car has made good use of the racetrack, been a gentleman, turned low, but now Harry Gant's going to have to make his move. That other car isn't helping him. He's not going to make it.
He won't have time. It's Darrell Waltrip taking the checkered flag. Darrell Waltrip maintaining that slight advantage throughout the closing stages of the Rebel 500. And thus far, 8 races have been run on the Grand National Circuit. In 1981, Waltrip has won at Richmond, at Rockingham, North Carolina, as you watch Dave Marcus come across the line in 3rd position. Waltrip's also won at Bristol, Tennessee, and now he makes it 4 of 8 with a victory here, his 31st overall Grand National win, taking the Rebel 500 at Darlington.
Well, he certainly worked for his victory, a just victory to a man, of course, who's very controversial with the crowd, but certainly a man who's going to win a lot more races.
It's the 3rd time Waltrip has won the Rebel 500 as you look at the top 5. And they are the men who finished 6th through 10th. As far as the rookies were concerned, Tim Richmond turned in the best performance as he came in 12th. The average speed for Waltrip, 126.703. The race just under 4 hours and a relatively safe race. A total of 6 caution flags for 40 laps. So Darrell Waltrip, the winner by half a length over Harry Gant. And in victory lane, before he quenches his thirst, a whiff of oxygen on this hot and humid day for the winner, Darrell Waltrip. Now this is Al Michaels for Jackie Stewart and Chris Economaki saying so long from the Rebel 500 in Darlington, South Carolina.